So when I was just turned 7, I was going to the park with my aunt's boyfriend at the time. And me and him were walking down the street, and we went to cross the street to the park. There was like an entrance going over a ditch to get into the park. And we were about midway through the street when there was a car parked halfway on one of the sides, and it started to back up and come towards us. And during that time, my aunt's boyfriend pushed me out of the way, and he was hit by the car and rolled over the back of the trunk and the back window and fell onto the ground. During this time, I remember looking up and being confused why I just got hit in the back and trying to get up, and then everything goes blank. And it's during this time I was told that a car started to do donuts, and one of the tires pulled me under, where it ran me over 3 times. Sorry, that threw me off. So the car ran over my face, my chest, and then my, I guess, hip, you could call it. And so then I remember everything being black and my grandma crying over me, telling me to just do whatever the paramedics told me to do and to stop trying to move, because I was trying to move. And I told her okay, as brokenly as I could. And then everything goes blank, but I remember seeing the oxygen mask in the ambulance for a few seconds. And then my next memory is, I believe, like maybe a week later, being in the hospital. They put me on morphine for all the pain, but we didn't know that I was allergic to morphine, and so I had an allergic reaction that resulted in me hallucinating that I was being eaten alive by spiders and rats. So that, yeah. The reason that it was spiders and rats was because I had just watched the Harry Potter movie with the big spiders, and so it was still really fresh in my young memory. And so after that, I spent about 3 months living in the hospital, unable to walk, and slowly, surgery after surgery, I was getting better, and they let me out of the hospital after about 3 months, and I was still in a wheelchair for another 4 or 5, and where I was doing physiotherapy and relearning how to walk. And during this time, I had extensive nerve damage in my left arm, but a new operation became available, and so I went and got it around the age of 9 or 10, and it regained most mobility in my arm, which was a really good thing for me. Eventually, after missing a long time of school, I started going back to school, but my teachers and principal and such, they didn't really deal with my newfound disabilities or issues properly. They kind of made me exiled and made me seem different than all the other kids. And so when all the kids are being told that by the adult, well, they start to follow through with, oh, he's different. So they all started to treat me different, and that resulted in me starting to grow very depressed by the age of 10, because I didn't really have any friends or anything, and my school didn't help me, and I would never put in any work or get good grades because I would miss so much because of operations or medical issues, and nobody would ever be there to help me when I got back or to help me catch up or see what I've missed. So that made it really hard, and those feelings, they kept going on into high school, and I was hoping high school would be different, but when I started, after a few months, it was basically the same, and after about a year I stopped going because I didn't see much of a point. I wasn't learning, I didn't have friends, the teachers and the students made fun of me, so I no longer wanted to attend. Not too much really happened to the guy who ran me over. They just took away his license for 2-3 years, but that suspension was useless considering he was already told to be unfit to get a driver's license because of his mental disabilities, but he had slipped through the cracks and gotten it anyways. And the investigation was basically botched and really minimally respected or put effort into, because it was just another Overbrook kids. Nobody really cared about the ghetto kids, especially not early 2000s. After dropping out of high school, I started to really just look at myself and start trying to understand why I would react certain ways to certain things, why I'd feel so strongly about things that to others couldn't matter. And I just really started to self-analyze every little thing I could and just try to understand myself and then understand others as much as I could, why they would have treated me like that, why, what could have led them to being like that. And through this time, I ended up starting to find ways to cope by the time between the age of 14 to 16. And at 16, they really started to pay off in positive ways, and I really started to get to know myself and who I want to be, and see that, everything I went through wasn't as bad as I thought, because it led me to who I am now. Through those experiences, I wouldn't change them for anything, even if I was miserable through the majority of them, because they've made me who I am today. And they've given me the voice I have and the strength and the courage to tell people what I think and to make myself heard finally, rather than just get lost in the numbers like I used to.